Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 51 of my show, but this is about Episode 50, Episode 50 of Season 2. Now, Episode 50 of Season 2 is Part 1 in the two-part episode Wild West Rangers. Now, basically, but before I actually start talking about it, I just want to mention something very quickly here. Earlier this week, last week I posted a special reaction video because I watched the live reveal for the PlayStation 5, and I said before, like, wow, it just blew me away. I just thought I'd bring that up again since I mentioned it. That's why I didn't do a Power Ranger video the day after, is because I wanted to wait in between that, so I wanted to wait for the weekend to do this one. But anyway, getting back into the actual video here, this is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 51 of my show, but this is about Episode 50 of Season 2. And Episode 50 of Season 2 is Part 1 in the Wild West Rangers two-part episode. Now the way this episode basically starts off is that Tommy basically shows up. Oh, but before I continue, I'm just gonna mention, since we're on episode 51, episode 50, that means we got 50, 51, 52. We got 3 more videos left before the end of the season. I just want to get that out of the way before I actually start talking. But anyway, getting back into the actual storyline of this episode, Tommy shows up at the youth center with to show the other Rangers that he got something special for Kimberly, which is basically a cactus plant. Which is Adam, Isha, Billy, and Rocky. They see that he's got a cactus plant, and they're wondering what the cactus plant is for, and then he explains that the cactus plant is for Kimberly because he got it when he was away for a trip, sort of thing, and he knew that Kimberly was looking for something special to finish her garden, so basically he's giving her that to basically finish it. And now that I've mentioned about the cactus, it's gonna be funny because that cactus is gonna play a part in the creation of Rita and Zed's latest monster. Oh, and I will also sort of explain why this... I guess I should, before I continue, I should also explain why this episode is called Wild West Rangers. The main reason why it's called that... I'm just getting off topic here because I should have explained this at the beginning. But the reason why it's called that is because basically the storyline of this episode is that one of the Rangers will be sent back to Angel Grove in the wild... actually, I'll explain when I get to the part where Kimberly gets pulled into there. But anyway, basically what happens is after showing them that, he goes over to Kimberly, and then basically he tells Kimberly that he's got a surprise for her, and then Kimberly's wondering what it is, and then he tells him to close... He tells her to close his eyes, and she does, and basically what happens is, after that, he shows her the cactus plant, and he brings out the cactus plant, and then basically he tells her to open her eyes, and then she sees the cactus plant, and then he tells her that he got it for her as a present to finish her garden and stuff, and then she says that she likes it, and then they put it down for a little bit to talk, and then that's when Rita and Zed put their plan in motion, because that's when this weird hole opens up in the youth center. Now I'm gonna explain what that hole is once Alpha mentions it. I just thought I'd bring it up, but basically after the plant gets put down, Zed uses his magic to basically make the cactus plant disappear. Oh, but before that, the Ranger communicators go off, and then basically what happens is after that they basically they go to Zordon, because Zordon has contacted the rest of the Rangers by this point, and then he tells them to teleport to the command center because he has information and he needs to tell them. So they go to teleport, but the thing is, when Kimberly goes to teleport in this episode, it's not that her teleporter doesn't work, it does, but it's sort of the it's a oh crud, that's probably Gerald. He's probably calling me. I'll call him back. Hello? Oh crap, it's one of those freaking automated ones. Sorry you guys if you heard that in the video. I apologize. That I thought that was a friend calling. It was but it was one of those automated ones. My apologies though about that. Anyway, getting back into what I was saying, when Kimberly goes to try to teleport with the rest of the Rangers to the command center, her teleporter doesn't work, and then I think that's because she gets pulled into the time hole. Now the time hole, I'm gonna explain about what a time hole is when I get to the part with Billy and Alpha mentioning it, and basically she gets pulled through the time hole basically to another segment of Angel Grove. Basically it's Angel Grove in the year 1880. Like I stated this before in my previous 3-part video I did, that this wasn't gonna be the first time the Rangers would be sent to a different point in Angel Grove's past. In this case, they're sent to 1880. In this case, around the time of the Wild West, like the cowboy kind of thing. Anyway, after Kimberly ends up there, basically what happens is basically the rest of the Rangers are wondering where she was, and then after they get to the command center, they're asking Alpha what happened to her, and then basically Alpha says that her teleporter transmission got sucked into a time hole. Now I'm gonna explain what a time hole is. Essentially what a time hole is it's basically, as it's explained by Billy in this episode, I'm gonna explain what it is. You know how a wormhole is essentially the tear in the fabric of space, or the tear in the fabric of dimensions kind of thing? Well, basically what a time hole basically is basically a tear in the fabric of time. And as Billy states, if someone enters a time hole, they can either end up in the past or in the future. So in this case, Kimberly ended up in the past in 1880. And then they're wondering if they can locate her. And then Alpha says that he's trying to locate her, but these time holes appear randomly throughout the universe. And then the Rangers are wondering what they can do about that. And then basically, that's when Zed and Rita put their plan into motion. Like, Zed, like, that befuddled Blue Ranger doesn't know that the time hole is the key for their destruction. We will send Needle. Basically, what they plan to do. Now I'm going to explain sort of what their plan is. Basically, what they plan to do is sort of destroy the Rangers in the past, in the Wild West era, in order to essentially wipe the main Power Rangers from existence. Now, technically, that makes sense because if the ancestors of the Rangers are dead, then the Rangers themselves don't exist in this episode, and then, basically, they can't be the Rangers because they're not existent, so there's no way for them to stop Rita and Zed's scheme. So, technically, tactically speaking, it makes a good strategical point for them to do this for the planet. Basically, and what Zed tells Rita is basically, and the monster that they decide to create is from the same cactus plant that Tommy had given Kimberly for her garden, basically. And then, basically what happens is, we'll send Needle Nose back into Angel Grove. Then Zed tells Rita, he's like, we'll send Needle Nose back into Angel Grove's past to destroy the Rangers before they exist. Instead of wishing the Rangers were never born, we'll make it happen. Which, again, like I said, tactically speaking, makes sense from a tactical standpoint, because if the ancestors of the Rangers are eliminated in the past, then the modern day ones can't exist and get annoyed. So tactically, from a strategical standpoint, it does make sense. Anyway, now getting back into it, what happens is after that, Kimberly ends up in the Wild West, and then she encounters the ancestors of Bulk and Skull, who are, in this case, known as One-Eyed Bulk and Doc Scalovich. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna explain here. The reason why this one is called, the Bulk's ancestor is called One-Eyed Bulk, is not because he has one actual, I don't actually think it's because he has one actual eye, but I do know that it has to do with the fact that he has an eye patch over one eye, so either he has the eye patch over his one eye to look cool, or his eye is injured. It was never actually specified in the episode why he was named that. Anyway, and Skull's ancestor in the Wild West is known as Doc Scalovich. Oh my god! And basically, what happens is when Kimberly shows up in that timeline, basically first what happens is, they see, she sees Bulk and Skull's Wild West ancestors doing a stick-up of, Abraham, Rocco and Alicia, which are basically the ancestors of Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, basically, and then that's when the White Stranger shows up, and then, actually what happens is first the White Stranger shows up, which is basically, I think, the Wild West ancestor of Tommy, and then basically what happens is when she sees that, she's surprised by it, and then basically, what happens is after that, One-Eyed Bulk and Doc Scalovich do the stick-up, and they try to use their guns to shoot, but it doesn't work out because then One-Eyed Bulk gets mad with Doc Scalovich because he's like, you came at the wrong guns, you dimwit! Which is sort of similar to how Bulk gets angry with Skull when he messes something up. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just had to get that out of the way. And then after Kimberly sees that part of it, basically what happens is, and after that, she basically faints after they get away, and then in the next scene, she ends up in the Wild West version of the youth center, gym and juice bar, which in this case is a saloon owned by Ernest, who is basically, I think, the Wild West ancestor of the Ernie character in this series. Anyway, and when she sees her, the versions of the ancestors that look like Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, she thinks that they are them, but they explain that they're not, and then they explain that their names, or what they explain about them, like Billy's ancestor's name is William, which is sort of close to Billy, sort of that, and Abraham is Adam's ancestor. Rocco is Rocky's, and can't remember when Aisha is. But anyway, they explain that, basically they brought her here after she fainted, after the white stranger saved them. And then basically they're wondering she asks about who the white stranger is, because she thinks the white stranger is Tommy, which is technically true because it's Tommy's ancestor, sort of thing. Anyway, basically what happens is, after that, Abraham basically explains that, that him and Rocco brought, them here after the white stranger saved them. And then she's wondering about that, and then who he is, and then Abraham mentions that they don't actually know who he is. All they do know is that he shows up when they're in trouble. So sort of like the Power Ranger kind of thing, anyway. And basically what happens is, after that, then Kimberly gets a little distressed by it, because basically what happens is, Aisha's ancestor wonders where she got those clothes, and then she says about the mall, and they don't know about the mall because it's set in the timeline in Angel Grove she's in is 1880, in the Wild West era, before shopping malls and everything like that happened. And then she decides to go for a quick walk outside to check things out, and then basically what happens is, after that, she realizes that the sign says established 1880, and then she starts to get worried that she's stuck in a different timeline. And basically what happens is, after that, then basically their ancestors come back, and then the ancestors of her friends come back, and then basically she asks them if this is 1880 all year long. And then she decides to, and that's when, after that, that's when basically after they start talking a little bit, basically, this is when Zed creates the Needle Nose monster from Tommy's. Now, getting back into the original timeline for a second, what happens is, after that, Zed has started to put his plan to destroy the Rangers. Zed and Rita have started to put their plan into action to destroy the Rangers in the past, by destroying their ancestors, so that the original Rangers themselves can't be born. So he basically creates the Needle Nose monster from the cactus that Tommy had given Kimberly to finish her garden, and then basically he has the Needle Nose monster and Goldar take the Needle Nose monster along with him and some putties to take them into the past through the time hole, to the Wild West segment of Angel Grove, in order to destroy the Rangers in the past, to prevent the original Rangers from existing, basically. And then basically what happens is, after that, Zordon mentions about them appearing outside Angel Grove, and then so the Power Rangers morph to deal with the Needle Nose Monster and Goldar and the Putties, and they managed to beat them, but the Needle Nose Monster and Goldar managed to get to where the time hole is, which is in the youth center, so they managed to basically achieve their objective of escaping to Angel Grove's past in the year 1880. And then basically what happens is after that, the ancestors of her friends are wondering if she's okay, and then she basically had to tell them the story about who her friends are and her timeline and stuff. And then after she tells them the story, William, who's Billy's ancestor, says, "Power Rangers are monsters, huh? Now, Miss Kimmy, you're not trying to hornswoggle me, are you?" And she's wondering what it means, hornswoggle, which is, I think, in a Western sense, she's asking that he's playing a trick on them and stuff. But after that, what happens is that's when Goldar and the Putties show up, along with the Needle Nose Monster in the past. And then basically what happens is after that, the people of Angel Grove in that timeline get frightened, and then basically after that what happens is, basically Kimberly says about Goldar, and then basically William's like, "That's Goldar?" And then the people of the Angel Grove in the year 1880 are panicking and frightening kind of mode, and then basically the way this episode ends is basically Goldar tells them, "Take cover because there's a new sheriff in town, Lord Zed!" And that's basically where this part stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, I'm probably going to try to post it today. I might post it today later, but so if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next Power Ranger video. So until next time, guys, may the power protect you always.